This is an interesting subject because the Los Angeles Clippers actually waived Chris Paul. And apparently there was some conflict brewing in the locker room. He was getting into it with coaches, specifically over he didn't feel like the team was being held accountable for their poor performances on the court, which I completely understand. Because the Clippers have been a dreadful team this year on the court. They're not playing up to expectations. So I get it. Sometimes you need that veteran to straighten people out. Call them out on their behavior. Call them out. But Chris Paul, the thing was, I guess Tyronn Lue felt like he was taking it a little too far because sometimes Chris Paul does have a history of getting heated when calling out teammates. So those heated call outs, those heated feedbacks that Chris Paul provides can sometimes it can work out in your favor and sometimes it can work against you. So, I mean, that's a slippery slope because sometimes getting on people can feel fire in them. But for other people, maybe it can cause their confidence to take a brief hit. And I think what the thing was in this case with Chris Paul, I believe the reason they let him go is because he's at the end of his career. He's not really producing at this point. So they don't really see much value in Chris Paul on this team at his current state in his career. Because let's face it, Chris Paul is averaging 2 to 3 points per game. I mean, this is Chris Paul's look in the second stint with the Clippers. He was looking like Shaq on the Celtics, T-Mac on the Knicks. He was looking like those guys. He was looking like, who else? He was looking like Pat Ewing on the Magic. I mean, he was looking awful this go-around. So I guess the Clippers didn't really feel like he was contributing much. Now, if this would have happened in 2015, the team would have leaned more toward him. Maybe it would have been a Phil Jackson type thing when Kobe and Jordan would sometimes get on players. And maybe in a way that maybe sometimes it can get people going. Sometimes it might rub people the wrong way. Because Chris Paul has that similar style leadership when calling out players that a Kobe Bryant and a Michael Jordan have, where they do it in a way where sometimes it works out in your favor, but sometimes it rubs people the wrong way. It could come across the wrong way. And at least with but when it happened back, that's right. Yeah, I'm in a grouchy mood after last night. That's why I got this going. And now sometimes that can work, but sometimes that could cause the player's confidence to take a hit. So you got to be careful with that style leadership, where that's a style, like I said, that dogging on players, so to say, that can sometimes work in your favor, and sometimes it might not work out as well. But I think for the Clippers, for Tyronn Lue, they're like, look, man, Chris Paul's getting on this team about how bad it is. He's getting on the players, yet he's not producing himself. So they probably didn't really see much value in this, except to sell a few tickets. I guess the Clippers figured, hey, they still have James Harden, who's actually been playing really good for them. He's been the bright spot of a dreadful Clippers team thus far. Wonder how much longer before he requests a trade. But on a serious note, though, James Harden's been lights out. He's been balling this season so far. Kawhi Leonard's in and out of the lineup, so I kind of get it. It's like Chris Paul at this stage of his career isn't adding value to a team, so they just decided to cut him. Like if this were a decade ago, maybe the coach would try to work it in, like kind of like Phil Jackson did when Kobe would get on guys like Smush Parker. Phil found a way to kind of play mediator to some degree to work through that conflict. So I think it's a combination of having the right coach and making, to make sure that the player, doesn't go too overboard with their calling out people, because sometimes these superstars get a little bit in their own way and they sometimes go a little bit overboard sometimes, but sometimes you got to call people out. You got to let players know when they're not doing their jobs right. So I think the Clippers in this case, it doesn't really make much. It's not going to make much of a difference to me. So I'm kind of indifferent, but I feel like at this point, it's not going to resonate well with the team when Chris Paul isn't contributing at this stage in his career.